Hello there, it is Miss MatchaBlossom, and today it is another sewing masterpiece, or just tutorial, or just sew along with me, as I make my own custom hanfu for the first time. That took me 3 years to complete. If you're interested in this kind of sewing vibes or more into hanfu sewing, feel free to keep watching as I try to unravel this mystery of making custom hanfu from the Hezi structure from the Tang Dynasty. I am recording this. I hope my other phone is finished charging by that time. Actually working on this like mermaid inspired hanfu. I got the idea while I was in the store because I always wanted to do it ever since I saw the movie, and before that, you know what? Why not? Because of this old Chinese movie called The Mermaid, I believe. I also was encouraged and I saw a bunch of fantasy elements and I was like, why not? Funny because I was not planning this. I only wore this today because I got it at the beauty supply store. Now, before you get swept away in the moment, let's go ahead and get started on the outline of how we're gonna get this project started. Get your fashion drawing, color it however you want in your imagery, because when you go to the store to buy these fabrics, you're gonna have to work with what your image has to say. Don't go the other way around, it gets a lot confusing. It can be easy for most, but not for everyone. Have a drawing down. On the side of the drawing, please, for the love of God, have how many yards you're gonna have for each part. So for me, I'm doing a circle skirt for part of it because it's the Song Dynasty inspired, how I want it. It's going to have up to 3, maybe even 4 yards. Depends on how big and tall you are, or both. So that's an example, and I put it to the side with the colors and what I'm getting. So enough of me talking. Basically, you're gonna have the fashion drawing to the side. It's gonna help you understand where the colors align, what you want in mind, so that way you're not wasting fabric or going back to get more. To Joann's, I used my coupon and I got these pretty fabrics. They're so pretty. I bought a lot of different fabrics here. Beautiful fabrics, have like mermaid-esque in me. And I got influenced by this one picture I saw up here. It was beautiful, it was gorgeous, and I was like, I need to have it in my life. There's this fabric, which I absolutely love. This one I'm gonna use for like the top of the skirt. It'll be the mermaid tail, but it's gonna be a fitted kind of long skirt. It's like a tail, but it's just a long skirt. I liked it because it had the mermaid scale, but I didn't like it like that. This is gonna be the base, where my legs are gonna go. So, and this is gonna be on top of it, on top of this. So it's gonna look so pretty. So you're gonna see a little color on top of this. Yeah, I like that. It's gonna be the top of the Song Dynasty inspired hanfu. It's gonna be for the camisole. I got a little bit bigger so it's a little bit easier and breathable, but I am gonna add some decorations on these. They look kind of plain. These all look plain right now. I know they look plain with like bleh, but at the same time, I'm doing this because I'm actually trying to get accessories later. How much it was or what type of material it was, I'll read it back to you. Let me give you a second. This is the white chiffon. I got, I wanna say around 2.5 yards, if not 2 yards of this. Was the satin white material. Because my sister gave me a great idea. She's like, just get satin for the shirt because it is gonna be a breathable fabric and it's much easier on my skin. Okay, what is this? This is more of a confetti, like mint green chunky color. You can get this from like the 80s looks. If you're wondering, where can I get this in the side of Joann's or fabric store? 80s section, the prom section, or like quinceañera, or like kind of like the party formal area, the glamorous areas, because you'll find more of these like fashion apparel top. That is so pretty. This one is gonna be the like more of a crepe BL Radiance. They call it the Casa Casa BL Radiance. Do I have that right? This one, if I'm correct, it looks like it's the 4-way oil slick. I think she just rang it up twice. So this is also, I want to say, satin. You want more sewing videos that are like costume related or hanfu costume related, hit the like button, thumbs it up, hit the bell notification so YouTube can let you know when I have a new video. It lets me know that you are interested, and it lets YouTube, let other hanfu people who love it, know that there's videos out there. I'm going to attempt to see if I can make this video without being interrupted. I'm just going to kind of like say it straight. Personally, I always have a hard time doing what other certain costumers, whether they're historical or not, do, because for me, I love Hanfu. I'm not from the Han ethnic group and I can't be passable for it. What I've decided to go down the route for today's video is I decided it might be smarter to make it more structure in the silhouette strictly Hanfu, but we're definitely definitely going to make it inspired. The structure, the way it looks and comes is still going to be traditionally Hanfu, like how it comes out. It won't be like Zhenfu or any of like the wuxia or zhangjia inspired Hanfu. It'll still have the silhouette and structure of Hanfu, but have mermaid elements inside of it. It won't be like retro Hanfu, like how Tian Hanfu is, like, which is not real Hanfu, but inspiration and has colors and adaptation. But for this one, it's just going to be strictly just the Hanfu. Like the silhouette, the structure, it'll have the colors and the inspirations inside of it. Now, of course, some people are going to say, well, then that's not traditionally Hanfu. Okay, that's fine, but it'll have a traditional structure. Not gonna argue on that shiz. You ain't gonna start with me on that. I did want to say that before kind of like going into this video, and I know some people are going to probably think, if not say in the comments, why do you keep putting a disclaimer in most of your videos in the beginning? Because I can't tell you how many times people do not listen to my videos or don't even read the descriptions, or don't have a lack of sense or common sense when they watch my videos and say, you're appropriating, or you can't do that, or what does this even mean? Did you watch the video, good chat? Honestly, get it together. Other than that, yeah. Thanks guys for listening. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a little bit intimidated right now because I don't know if I have enough yards for the Daxiushan. That, let me tell you why. It's not only really long longitude wise or long vertically, but it's gonna be big on the sleeves because it's a wide sleeve, right? It's a Daxiushan for a reason. Big sleeve shirt. I'm going to try to measure out what I have and lay down the fabric after I make the patterns. I'm probably gonna make the pattern for the first. And the chin for the chin is not too complicated for me because I've already made a Qishanru chin in the past, and I've learned from my like mistakes and corrections and how to improve myself, like the criticism I've gotten from people. I will say the reason why this is like an inspiration costume, it's only because it's not only a mermaid type, but because I have a fitted skirt underneath it. Editing Matcha here. I'm going to say this short and sweet. I can't find the clip for how I broke down Hezi, so I'm going to say it very quickly here. Hezi is very common and very popular amongst the Tang dynasty. It was a actual undergarment for women, but a lot of women wore it with their Qishanru chin. It's a garment that goes across your bust, and you tie it from the back, so it's kind of like a corset-like garment that you would wear over your Hanfu as an accessory. But there was very different types, different structures, different ways to tie it, how it was made, but it's always very much embroidered or has a very beautiful design. Different subcategories if you would like to research it. But when they unearthed that one, they also found it very common in also other dynasties besides Tang, such as Ming, Song, even in the Qing dynasty, where they renamed it as Dudo. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. I would definitely leave the links down below so you guys can research. If I end up finding the video, I'll definitely cut out this voiceover, but I already told you how some of them are made because it's different alternations to it. Oh, the way I want to make my Hezi, where it looks like it could like have like the straps, just because for me that's a little bit easier if I'm gonna go take this to a photo shoot, for instance. Use the straps for the top of the Hezi. And then I'm gonna have some ties in the back and kind of keep it form-fitting. Say if you don't want to make ties and have it tied, I would say go ahead and just go ahead and make like Velcro. Oh my gosh, it's not traditional. Velcro and everything, throw that shit off and on. Yeah, find what works for you as long as it's accurate and it's according to its structure. The way that I make my patterns is after I take my measurements of how long and where my body's going to lay, I then go ahead and graph it on some paper to see if there's any alterations. But right now I just need to fix Kobe, my old mannequin from my great-grandmother, to see if she's in the same shape as, you know, your girl's curvaceous body. Once I realized I got Kobe fixed and measured up with myself, I realized I was missing some fabrics. Yeah, I know. So I had to go back to Joann's, get more underlay of fabric for the chin of the Ruqun of this design. Yeah, and they didn't have the fabric I wanted. So I'm trying to find more of the chunky fabric, but they ran out, it seems. I'm trying to find a good dupe for it because I don't want to waste fabrics or money. I'm looking for this color because it's not that, but I need that in a chunky see-through. Nowhere to look for one. So we're gonna just wing it. You get your stuff done by a custom costumer, don't complain about the budget. This is expensive. As you guys saw, I got 2 of the fabrics. It's so expensive for chiffon. So this is the other little pearls I got. So they look kind of like bubbly, and that's the reason why I got it, because it's under the sea vibes. Under the sea! I got also these big, like, bubbled ones. I thought this would be great to mix with the small and the big ones, so it looks like it's different bubbles. Because I want to make a little tiara for it, so I'm like a princess coming out of the water, like, oh, in the sea. Bought, if you guys saw, in the video. So it's like pinkish, sort of white vibes going on. I thought that'd be great because we already have some pinksies. So this is what it looks like. It's going to be for either side of the shirt. This was accidental. I was like, oh, this would be great because these are the colors I'm working with. That I got that were accessorized. I thought this would be great to add on to the fabric I'm going to be using. If I do run out of some of the fabric, like the chunky mint green I told you guys about, I'm going to find a way to merge that in there. I'm not wasting no fabric today. And I'm not just saying that. So it made me very uncomfortable. So when I said that in the video, oh, there he is. Okay, let me move. I don't want to be found. My car's already painted. I don't want them to know who I am. Now you're probably wondering, why did you go and buy more fabric when you haven't even sewn yet? Here's my answer. Everyone has their own way of doing things. Sewing and pattern making is one of them. For me personally, I would like to have a little bit more fabric, knowing that I have a bit more dimensions and volume on my bodies. I'm jotting down all my measurements so that when I start sewing, my pattern pieces can make sense to my math and how I cut them out. But if you really want to set yourself up for success, look at my awful dance moves. Now that I've got the length measurement of my chin or whatever else I'm measuring, I'm going to go ahead and start on the pattern making process of making the pieces for the hanfu. Now I go into making using some spare muslin fabric or leftover fabric I have to make the base of the Hezi, or just making the mock-up in another way. So that's how I start off, is just with the fabric, and I start tracing on Kobe, my pattern here. How I trace is I try to use kind of like a loose draping method is how I did this next step, so I can figure out how on my body how it fits and how I want it to look. It reminded me of a similar structure of a bustier, or how one does a sweetheart neckline. Now this is like kind of like my favorite thing to do. I'll have the structure more clean and concise once I like trim it down, make sure it's all together. The back doesn't have anything connected is because I want to add some like ties, like some long ties, like the tassel ties, like I don't know if it's a tassel. I'll come back to you guys once I have it shaped out. So this is 4 yards, 4.5 yards. This is the other yards I got earlier when I was there. I don't know what to do with it because it doesn't match. It's gonna bother me later, but we'll see what we can do. We can use that for the same hanfu. If not, I have an idea for it. This is the pattern I made from the big sleeve shirt. We'll see how that goes. If you're wondering how I did it, I just basically laid down, followed the measurements of what a standard one was, and I measured my body's arm length from like the middle of my neck collarbone to the end of the sleeve, so it's like a full shoulder or neck to wrist. That way I don't have to keep sewing on parts. You can if you want. I did the whole measurement of how long I wanted this to be, based off of my height and my length I wanted it to be at. That's leftover paper, and that's just fabric that we were going to use for this. We gotta open this up so we can do the right pattern for this. I am moving the fabric over to make sure it matches and so it's the right length. What I'm gonna have to do is I have to put it right on that edge. I'm gonna have to hem that later, which is not a problem for me. It's exactly matching up, like length and width wise. So I'm gonna have to pin that down, and it works on both ways. So I'm gonna have to trace it here, trace it there. The front and back have to be even. I think the middle section is probably gonna be cut down because we have to have that opening. Oh! Oh no! Not me having my pin lose its ball. Oh no! It fell off. Like you weren't caught. Jack, what were you doing? You're running away. Jack, out of the kitchen! This is on a fold, so I might fix it because the front center part isn't going to be the same as the center back, but it looks dinky to me, but it's not. We'll just... Do you want to keep loving me? Now, there is one thing I will say about any hanfu or any garment you sew. The key to making it look beautiful and clean cut and professional is to iron it. For the love of cheesecakes and all of the goodness of the world, iron your clothing. Sometimes, if you do not, it can look like this, just randomly. And this is just because of the tension on the thread. But if you allow it to look like this, it does not look clean. Compared to iron, I'm just stretching it so you can see the difference. So I would say if you're trying to be more proper with your garments or with your clothing, please iron them on the folds, iron it inside out, make sure it's clean cut, fold it correctly for storage or hanging up for storage so that it can keep its longevity and that it keeps you from reapplying and re-ironing. I didn't think I needed to say that, but I can't tell you how many times I've had people say like,
I sew it, but it doesn't look that great.
Or
it looks like it doesn't look like yours.
Okay, well, iron it on the pleats, iron it on the creases that it needs to be creased to be clean and structured. You can even get one of those sprays that they have for clothing to make sure it stays in a certain, like those starch sprays. Please just save your garments with that and wash them appropriately. Air dry them if you need to. Excuse my language. This will slick harder than a silkworm trying to worm its way out of a divorce. I'm just saying, it's just, this is ridiculous. I cannot, like, it keeps moving and sliding. This looks a lot bigger than I thought it would be. The sleeves are a bit short for me. I need to add the placket and I need to add the hem part of the sleeve. I'm biased here to make it long. I might actually close this part up so it's not so long. What is that, 7, 8 inches? Open like a closed off sleeve. And this much needs to be sewn down. So that's pretty nice though. I'm really proud of myself. Hey Tori, you wanna see me look like a bird? Like a bird. Look! I did the sleeves. I didn't think it'd be this thing, but I like it. Those cartoons are like... I'm excited about it. I might alter it a bit from what the design had. Actually might do color overlay of like the mermaid top mixing with the bottom. We will see, we will see. I sewed close 2/3 of the sleeve. I have the opening sleeve 1/3 open. Once I actually finished the final details of the closures and the adjustments for the Daxiushan, now we can start on the Hezi, or as I mispronounce it, Hezi, but the Hezi is actually something that goes with the chin for the root chin of this. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the details once I get the fittings to be appropriate. I just had an epiphany and I'm really happy. This right here was giving me the hardest trouble because I was like, how do I make this look like a Hezi? I think what I'm going to do, I'm still deciding if I want to add this chiffon over because I know it looks like it's kind of like filtering it, but I don't know why. I kind of like this kind of, me, I kind of like that like silhouette of like, it's a bit more tame. So I might do it like this and add that like kind of like softer, elegant touch. I gotta celebrate. Now in regards to asking about Hezi and how it's constructed, this gave me a little bit of troubles, believe it or not. It was one of the hardest parts besides the chin. The chin was more layerings. This was like strategic layerings. Why? These damn beads. These beads were so hard. I thought that the measuring technique of using my thick threads of like putting one through the other could help, but no. So as I go through with this needle thinking positive affirmations, hoping this might work, thinking it might work. I didn't realize that the thread could be very, very not only thin on my body, but it would not keep up the weight because the beads itself were so heavy. It's going to keep busting every time I move this. So you might see it in the clip because this thread is not thick enough to hold it together and hold the top together. So keep that in mind if you do happen to do this as a strap like I did or something similar. So I spoke too soon, I broke it. The beads broke off right here, and I gotta fix it. And we need to open up the fabric layers and see how we're gonna lay it on our body before we start getting into the pattern making. For me, I'm a little bit taller, so I like to open things up and then I start pleating it down to see where it lays on my body and how I'm going to lay it. So that is how I do the chin, and I'm going to test it to see how the other layers look underneath this fabric, since it is 1 out of 3 layers that we're adding for the bottom piece. Since I have a fish brain, I literally forgot to do my inner lining for this Hezi, and I'm starting to do it now with some leftover material that I got the second time I went to Joann's, or just to any fabric store you can do that. I'm pinning the Hezi to the fabric first, and then what I do next is I take some sewing chalk, which I wish I had a chalk shaver right now, but I'm taking some sewing chalk and I'm just tracing the outline of the actual Hezi on the fabric. And once I have that cut out from it being pinned together, I'm going to go ahead and make my inner lining and then move on to the next step. What's happening? What? Ah, there's the glitter. Not on this world. Now we're at the step where we're making the pleated chin for the Ruqun of the Hezi. And this part was a little bit tedious, and I'm gonna say that because glitter kept going everywhere. But other than that, it came out very beautifully, very oceanic. And making sure I had to tug and make sure the pleats are all together was very important before I started sewing all of it down, which was very time consuming, I must say. Please put on a drama or a movie. I put on Disney because it gets me through the days. Now, knowing your pleats width and length and what type of fabric you're using for this chin is very, very important in this step, because I forgot that it's not the pleats that are the issue here, it's the fact that this is such delicate fabric. So even though I'll sew this underneath the sewing machine, it'll knock out my pins, which previously happened. I had to do the next step was running a base stitch so that these pins don't get knocked out. Uncomfortability, an issue, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I was gonna actually have the Hezi, which is this on top, and the chin for the Ruqun to be 2 separate things, because normally our traditional values, or what it seemed to start off with, they come on top of it just to kind of help balance it. I wanted to sew it together, but as you can see, the skirt goes out more than the actual Hezi does. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do the skirt and Hezi separately. If I do sew it later, it just happens in the meantime. But I do like the way it looks. It's not too crazy for me. We'll have to try it on and see, unless I have to like cut some pieces off. I don't think I need to, because I want it to be a full, like kind of like circular when I twirl. I want to be like a Disney princess. I'm just kidding. I don't want to be like that, but you know what I mean. So here's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna take one of my sewing needles and hand stitch it, like just to hold it, and then put it down across the sewing machine so I don't mess up the pleats, because I've noticed if you move it too fast with the pin still in, it easily slips out of the fabric, because the fabric is so smooth and so sleek, and it's very tedious to put that crap back in. I'll just say that, at least for me. I don't know about y'all. Just do a base stitch to kind of hold it together, that while I'm stitching it, it doesn't get in the way of things, so it's just to hold it until I put it on the sewing machine. As far as the base stitch, if you're wondering what that is, it's just a stitch to kind of hold everything down at the base. For me, I had to do that very carefully with these layers, because once again, when you have delicate, expensive fabrics like this and threads, you want to make sure, especially when you're layering those, that you're doing it cautiously, patiently with each garment or fabric you're using. So for me, it was very important to get this done, and it came out really well for the first time. Then I had to add on the waistband that kind of holds everything together for the Daxiushan Ruqun before I add the Hezi on top of it. This is what it looks like as a sample before I start getting detailed with the Hezi. As you can see, I had to be very careful when adding the underlayer that was the tail for this because I can see my legs very, very much. And everything under the sea, if you get what I mean. Under the sea. Hello there. This is totally what I wear every Monday afternoon. The bottom part's complete. Top part isn't. They keep overlapping really weird, and then when I tried it, the beads at the top fell off again for the third time probably. In the past, they would just overlay it. I think they just knew what they were doing. I don't know what I'm doing. This is supposed to be for the back, by the way. This blue one's for the back. So I got help tie it, but that didn't work. I decided this might be easier because the bottom fits, which is great because you don't want it to not fit. Hold on to the back of it as I pinned everything, and then I'll finish pinning so I can sew it. Now, as far as the next step is really just getting these straps fixed and ready, the next thing I had to do was just get all my fabric organized and just finish the damn beaded straps. And yes, I watch Rachel Maskey because she is such a great influence for me. She makes me feel like I could be my weird self and it's accepted. But anyways, back to the straps. What I did was actually wet the tip of it before I put the beads through because I had a narrow opening. I'd wet the tip of it, throw the beads down. Once I was finished with the strap itself, I would tie it a very tight knot, which was a little bit hard to do. And then I would use a lighter to go ahead and close off the ending on both ends of the strap so that way it won't fray or get disrupted later on while wearing this or wherever. Once the straps were completed, sewn on, it completed the basic structure of the Hezi Hanfu, which made me really excited for the next step, which is the details and decoration. You can see, guys, I finally attached this on there. I had to hand stitch it. I feel like this is still loose because it keeps falling off. I might have to tighten the back here. What I did first, I did this tie in the back to cross over, and then I did this one to kind of help fit it. So that's why it looks like it's form-fitting. Now, moving on to the inner structure of the Hezi Mermaid Hanfu, I'm going to start with the inner skirt. Now, I was looking and researching what kind of inner skirt looks like a fitted mermaid skirt tail, but still historically accurate to an extent. And I found this paneled skirt that you normally see with two different colors, or you can have it as one color. And it's from the Tang Dynasty. I found it to be the most likely similar vibe that I was looking for. I actually have these books that I bought online that talk about Hanfu kind of structures in this, and I hopefully will make a video about which Hanfu pattern books I can show you guys. Okay, so what I've done is I decided to make the Tang Dynasty, this book here, the book of patterns from the Zhao, Han, Tang, Ming, Song Dynasty, I think even Qin. Not Qing. It's a really good book. I'll try to leave it down below. Used this pattern here. I used this kind of like straight skirt but I used this pattern here, and it did kind of help me because when I translated it using the Google Lens, if you buy a book that shows something that's from another country outside of America, or if you don't use centimeters and you want to use inches, just use the other side of it. It'll tell you how much it is in inches. Okay, I got this book also online. This one right here. And I used this pattern that you might have seen in like a Tongling collar. It looks pleated, but it's like cut into sections kind of skirt, but it's like a straight kind of chin. I do have a book haul coming up. Once again, it's good to learn the language, but also if you're still learning and you want to still make Hanfu and you need to know what it is, I would definitely say use Google Lens, and I will drop the link down below. I'm so tired of people trying to fight me in the comments like where I should have got it from. Look, if I got it, I got it, okay? Thank you. If you feel like you needed it to be bigger or wider out, feel free to expand it as long as you want that sectional to be, because you're gonna sew each sectional to itself to make the skirt. If you see how it's slightly angled, but it still fits as a regular triangle, that would help you while cutting these so you have a perfect, somewhat circle skirt. So this is mine. I used old paper, so I don't have to waste paper. On the floor, I have the whole mermaid skirt on the floor. I wanted to make sure that I had enough fabric so that it lays out correctly. Now, I know I have addressed this more than once with taking your time with these types of fabrics, but I can't stress enough how important this is, not only for your wallet, but also for your fabrics and the time you've put in. It did take me a while. I kept shuffling between 8 to 9 panels, and I believe once I did finish it, which I'll show you in a second, I did add on the taping, which is like just like the little ties, and then I added the waistband. And then this is what it looks like on the front, the back. I made nine pieces of those. Sewed them all together. If you're wondering how it looks like this. And it came out pretty interesting. So I sewed all the pleats together. It did take me a while because I forgot this is a 4-way stretch. Excuse me, 2-way or 4-way stretch. It seems very like formal yet good for athletics. Boy, did this start slipping around like I was rustling a fish because it was really annoying. So this is what it looks like on the other side. Look at it, it looks like water. Whoa! I can show you my tail. I'm just kidding. And you wrap it like that. So that's why I have this as the mermaid tail. So I'm gonna trim the bottom for the hem and make sure it's all even at the bottom. I'm gonna sew on the last panel, and then we're gonna do the kind of like waistband, and then I'll wait till tomorrow to finish the rest. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this is the hardest part. So I had to put everything on. I know I'm in the bathroom, don't judge me. I don't feel like bringing this tripod in after all my glitter on the floor. This is what it looks like. I'm feeling a little self-conscious, like I'm fat, which I'm not because I've been dieting, but you know, the girls got trunk, baby got back. Okay, let me stop. Ooh, I'm stepping off the dress. Like, I do have to fix the trimming here. The trimming here. I'm gonna add a placket going down. Go down on the front, that's it. And then probably sew some beads around the placket to add the beads for the mermaid kind of bust here. I gotta make sure it fixes. Oh god. Oh my god. Sucker looking like water. Looking like water. I like how this turned out. Look how pretty this is. I look like the ocean. So cool to me. But yeah, I look like an actual mermaid, Ma. Hey Ma, I'm a mermaid. So hemming, you do the hemming of the bottom of the dress. I'm probably on all 3 now when I think about it. Well, all 3 layers for the chins. I have to fix the hemming because apparently it's still too long, which is fine because it's better than being too long than too short because you can't go back when it's too short. So we're gonna do that, and then the next thing I'm gonna do is fix the placket and the wrist cuffs of this and add some detail to that. But the last thing is the embroidery of the bust for the Hezi. We'll do the ears and the hair accessories, and that's my favorite part, is the decorations. It just, I love working on little decorations and making it beautiful. One of my favorite parts. I will say it's very hard to walk in this dress. There's glitter on the floor. There's glitter. And me, I make a mess wherever I step in my snow clogger. Something in my shoe. Okay, I'm stopping. See, this is what it looks like. It's kind of clumpy. It looks kind of weird. We're gonna fix this in by adding beads along the little areas. The sleeves came out so good. Look at that. I just gotta make sure the back is tied correctly, cause see, too loose, too loose. Hey guys, just disregard my fan in the background. It's really hot in the summer here, 2024 as well. So this part of part 1 is super long. It's like 30 minutes. I tried to reduce it down as much as I could. So this is part 1 of the Mermaid Hanfu, if you're wondering. I will have part 2 up. This is as long as I wanted it to be because it would have been an hour, and I don't know if you guys are patient enough for an hour. If you do want me to do at least 45 minutes or 30 minutes sewing videos like this, please write that in the comments below what you're looking for. It does actually help me, not just with the algorithm, but to see what you guys really want. Also, I do also host community tabs in the side on the YouTube channel, so please make sure you're informed when there's a new poll for videos coming out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It does help with the algorithm, and it lets YouTube know that you're interested in more Hanfu videos like this, and to support a fellow Hanfu enthusiast in ancient Chinese culture. And I will see you guys in part 2. Don't forget to spread peace, love, and happiness. It's only up to you to make every day beautiful. See you soon. Bye.